Limerick is a city in County Limerick, Ireland. It is located in the Midwest region and is also part of the province of Munster. Limerick City and County Council is the local authority for the city. The city lies on the River Shannon, with the historic core of the city located on Kings Island, which is bounded by the Shannon and the Abbey River. Limerick is also located at the head of the Shannon estuary, where the river widens before it flows into the Atlantic Ocean, with a population of 95,854. Limerick is the third most populous city in the state, and the fourth most populous city on the island of Ireland. Geography and political subdivisions. There are 102,161 people living in the Limerick City Metropolitan District. On the 1st of June 2014, following the merger of Limerick City and County Council, a new Metropolitan District of Limerick was formed within the United Council, which extended the city area. The Metropolitan District includes the city urban area and extends outwards towards Patrickswell in the west and Castle Connell in the east. The city metropolitan area, however, excludes city suburbs located within County Clare. When included, this increases the overall city and metropolitan area by a further 5,000, with a combined total population of 107,161. Limerick is one of the constituent cities of the Cork-Limerick-Galway corridor, which has a population of 1 million people. It is located at a strategic position on the River Shannon, with 4 main crossing points near the city centre. To the south of the city is the Golden Vale, an area of rich pastureland. Historically, much of the city's industry was based on this rich agricultural hinterland, and it is particularly noted for Limerick ham. History. Ancient and medieval history. Limerick originally referred to the general area along the banks of the Shannon estuary known as Loch Limerick. The earliest settlement in the city, Innis Sibton, was the original name for Kings Island during the pre-Viking and Viking eras. This island was also called Innis and Galdo of the Dark Foreigners Island. The name is recorded in Viking sources as Humreka. The city dates from 812, which is the earliest probable settlement. However, history suggests the presence of earlier settlements in the area surrounding Kings Island, the island at the historical city centre. Antiquities mapmaker Ptolemy produced in 150 the earliest map of Ireland, showing a place called Regia at the same site as Kings Island. History also records an important battle involving Cormac mac Airt in 221 and a visit by St. Patrick in 434 to baptize and enact a king, Carthan the Fair. St. Munchan, the first bishop of Limerick, died in 652, indicating the city was a place of some note. In 812 the Vikings sailed up the Shannon and pillaged the city, burned the monastery of Mungart, but were forced to flee when the Irish attacked and killed many of the number. The Normans redesigned the city in the 12th century and added much of the most notable architecture, such as King John's Castle and St. Mary's Cathedral. In early medieval times, Limerick was at the centre of the Kingdom of Thomond, which corresponds to the present-day Midwest region. However, the kingdom also included North Kerry and parts of South Offaly. One of the kingdom's most notable kings was Brian Boru, ancestor of the O'Brien clan of Dalcassians. The word Thomond is synonymous with the region and is retained in place names such as Thomond Gate, Thomond Bridge and Amp, Thomond Park. Late Renaissance, early modern history. Limerick in the 16th and 17th centuries was often called the most beautiful city in Ireland. The English-born Judge Luke Gernon, a resident of Limerick, wrote in 1620 that at his first sight of the city he had been amazed at its magnificence, lofty buildings of marble, like the colleges in Oxford. During the civil wars of the 17th century, the city played a pivotal role. Besieged by Oliver Cromwell in 1651 and twice by the Williamites in the 1690s, the Treaty of Limerick ended the Williamite War in Ireland, which was fought between supporters of the Catholic King James II and the Protestant King William of Orange. The treaty offered toleration to Catholicism and full legal rights to Catholics that swore an oath of loyalty to William and Mary. The treaty was of national significance as it ensured close of British and Protestant dominance over Ireland. The articles of the treaty protecting Catholic rights were not passed by the Protestant Irish Parliament, which rather updated the penal laws against Catholics, which had major implications for Irish history. Reputedly, the treaty was signed on the Treaty Stone, an irregular block of limestone which once served as a mounting block for horses. This stone is now displayed on a pedestal at Clancy Strand. Because of the treaty, Limerick is sometimes known as the Treaty City. This turbulent period earned the city its motto, Urbs Antiqua Fuit Studes Casperi Mobili. The peace times that followed the turmoil of the late 17th century allowed the city to prosper through trade in the late 18th century. During this time, Limerick Port established itself as one of Ireland's major commercial ports, exporting agricultural produce from one of Ireland's most fertile areas, the Golden Vale, to Britain and America. This increase in trade and wealth, particularly amongst the city's merchant classes, saw a rapid expansion of the city as Georgian Limerick began to take shape. This gave the city its present-day look, including the extensive terraced streets of fine Georgian townhouses which remain in the city centre today. The Waterford and Limerick Railway linked the city to the Dublin-Cork Railway line in 1848 and to Waterford in 1853. The opening of a number of secondary railways in the subsequent decades developed Limerick as a regional centre of communications. However, the economic downturn in the European conflicts of the French Revolution and Napoleonic eras, and following the Act of Union 1800, and the impact of the Great Irish Famine of 1848 caused much of the 19th century to be a more troubled period. 20th century history. The Limerick boycott was an economic boycott waged against the small Jewish community for over 2 years in the first decade of the 20th century. It was accompanied by a number of assaults, stone-throwing and intimidation, which caused many Jews to leave the city. It was instigated in 1904 by a Redemptorist priest, Father John Cray. During the Irish War of Independence, the Limerick Soviet was a self-declared Soviet that existed from 15 to the 27th of April 1919. A general strike was organized by the Limerick Trades and Labour Council, as a protest against the British Army's declaration of a special military area under the Defence of the Realm Act, which covered most of Limerick City and a part of the county. During the strike, a special strike committee was set up to print their own money, control food prices and publish newspapers. By the mid-20th century, Limerick was characterized by economic stagnation and decline as many traditional industries closed or left the city. However, there were some success stories. In 1942, Shannon International Airport opened for the first time, offering transatlantic flights. In 1959, Shannon Airport enabled the opening of the Shannon Free Zone, which attracted a large number of multinational companies to the region. A long campaign for a third-level educational institute to be located in the city finally bore fruit with the establishment of NIHE Limerick in 1969, which eventually became the University of Limerick in 1989. Government and politics. The local government area of Limerick City is under the jurisdiction of Limerick City and County Council. The council has responsibility for local services such as sanitation, planning and development, libraries, collection of motor taxation, local roads and social housing in the city. The council comprises elected ward councillors with an appointed full-time CEO as the city manager. Local elections are held every 5 years and the councillors annually elect a Cathaoirleach, a chairman, to chair the council. The current Cathaoirleach is Councillor Liam Galvin from the Newcastle West electoral area. The 21 councillors from the 3 electoral districts in the city metropolitan area also elect a mayor to represent the city. The mayoral position is largely ceremonial and has much reduced responsibility following the merger of the Limerick local authorities. Although the mayor is the city's first citizen, within the council the position is below that of the Cathaoirleach. The current mayor is Councillor Jerry O'Dea. Former well-known mayors include TD's Donna O'Malley, Stephen Coughlin, Michael Lipper, Jim Kemmy and Jan O'Sullivan. Throughout most of the city's history, from 1197 when it gained its first charter, Limerick City had its own local government authority, Limerick Corporation, later known as Limerick City Council. The council was one of the oldest in Ireland and was only exceeded in age by Dublin City Council. On October 2012, the Government of Ireland published Putting People First Action Programme for Effective Local Government, which set out government policy for reforms across all the main areas of local government in Ireland. Among the recommendations was the merging of Limerick City Council with Limerick County Council. The changes came into effect on the 1st of June 2014 following the implementation of the Local Government Reform Act 2014. By the 1960s onwards the city had outgrown its boundary considerably. However, the city boundary was only altered slightly but still never reflected the overall city-urban area. A limited boundary extension on the city's north side in 2008 enlarged the city boundary by 1,020 hectares, increasing the city's area by almost 50%, and raising the population by an estimated 7,000. The previous boundary, encompassing 2,086 hectares, was delineated in 1950. Newer suburban districts such as Dord Oil, Castle Troy, including the University, Gould Avon, and Raheen were continually administered to by Limerick County Council until the merger of the two authorities in June 2014. This local government structure in Limerick caused a number of inefficiencies, most notably in the area of planning. A number of suburbs such as Westbury and Partine to the north of the city are governed by Clare County Council. Following the merger of the two authorities in 2014, a new metropolitan district of Limerick City was set up that included the city urban area and also settlements close to the city such as Patrickswell and Castle Connell. The Metropolitan District returns 21 councillors to Limerick City and County Council, which in total has 40 councillors returned from across Limerick City and County. The Limerick City Metropolitan District is divided into 3 wards or electoral areas, which are Limerick City East, Limerick City North and Limerick City South, which elect 8, 6 and 7 councillors respectively. Fianna Fáil is the largest party on the United Authority with 13 seats, followed by Fine Gael with 12. Sinn Féin Cútaín have 6. Anti-Austerity Alliance, Labour and AMP Independents have 3 seats each. For National Dáil elections, Limerick City is in the Limerick City constituency. From 2011, the constituency boundaries changed in accordance with the proposals of the Constituency Commission and the subsequent Electoral Act 2009. This changed the electoral boundaries from Limerick East and Limerick West to Limerick City and Limerick. Limerick City encompasses the city, the suburban areas of Castletroy, and as far east as Castleconnell. It also includes part of South County Clare. The Limerick County constituency takes in most of the rest of the county. For European Parliament elections, Limerick is in South Ireland. Climate. Limerick's climate is classified as temperate oceanic. Met Éireann maintains a climatological weather station at Shannon Airport, 20 kilometers west of the city in County Clare. Shannon Airport records an average of 977 millimeters of precipitation annually, most of which is rain. Limerick has a mild climate, with the average daily maximum in July of 20 degrees Celsius and the average daily minimum in January of 3 degrees Celsius. The highest temperature recorded was 31.6 degrees Celsius in 1995, and the lowest -11.4 degrees Celsius in 2010. Limerick is the cloudiest city in the state, averaging only 1,295 sunshine hours annually, 3.5 hours of sunshine every day. There are on average 59 days of no recordable sunshine, 6 days of thunder, 19 days of hail and 8 days of snow per year. Shannon Airport is located by the ocean at an elevation of 14 meters, so snow is less common at the station than in the city itself. Culture. In 2014, Limerick became Ireland's inaugural National City of Culture, with a wide variety of artistic and cultural events occurring at various locations around the city throughout the entire year. The Limerick City Gallery of Art on Perry Square is the city's chief venue for contemporary art exhibitions. It is home to a permanent collection of Irish art, which shows works from the early 18th to 20th century. The gallery houses the National Collection of Contemporary Drawing founded by the artist Samuel Walsh in 1987. Limerick's major contemporary art event is EVA International, Ireland's biennial of contemporary art. EVA International is curated by a new guest curator every 2 years and includes contemporary artworks by both international and Irish artists. The center of the exhibition is the Limerick City Gallery of Art, but EVA generally uses numerous other venues throughout the city, including public spaces. The Lime Tree Theatre officially opened at the Mary Immaculate College campus on the 30th of October 2012. The modern venue is able to host theatre, music, comedy, traditional arts, schools performances and conferences. The Belltable Arts Centre on O'Connell Street hosts for local playwriting and drama. Mike Finn's numerous plays have been successful, including Pigton, set around a century of the city's history, and Shock and Awe, an energetic retelling of Homer's Iliad. The University Concert Hall, located in Hull, is a 1,000-seat venue and provides a large venue for national and international acts to visit the city. Limerick is also the home of street theatre companies, including The Umbrella Project. Limerick is also well catered for when it comes to literature. The Limerick Writers' Centre was established in 2008 and is responsible for a broad range of writing activities in the city. Limerick has long been famous for its passion for arts, culture and heritage, and you only have to look at some of its natives, which include Pulitzer Prize-winning author Frank McCourt, novelists Kate O'Brien, Michael Curtin and lately Kevin Barry and Donald Ryan. Limerick poets have also contributed widely to its literary heritage, with Michael Hogan, Desmond O'Grady, John Liddy. The list goes on, proving that literature and writing is one of the major creative activities that the Treaty City can be proud of. Other active Limerick arts groups include Contact Studios, which provides individual studio spaces for visual artists, the Dagda Dance Company, a contemporary dance company that has adopted a renovated church in John's Square, adjacent to St. John's Cathedral, as a performance space, the Fresh Film Festival, which is held each spring, and includes films made by young people from all over Ireland, Impact Theatre Company, and Limerick Printmaker Studio and Gallery, which provides printmaking facilities, a venue for exhibitions and events, and an education program. The Limerick Youth Theatre provides young people with an opening into acting and production. It received attention in the national media with its 2005 production of Romeo and Juliet, which made comparisons between the ongoing feud in the city with that of the Montagues and the Capulets in the play. The Irish Chamber Orchestra and the Irish World Music Centre are both based in the University of Limerick. The university has a 1,000-seat state-of-the-art concert hall that frequently hosts visiting performers. The city has an active music scene, which has produced bands such as the Cranberries and guitarist Noel Hogan's Mono Band, the Hitches, and many more. World-renowned electronic musician Richard D. James, more commonly known as Aphex Twin, was born in Limerick in 1971. The Limerick Art Gallery and the Art College cater for painting, sculpture and performance art of all styles. Limerick is also home to comedians the Rubber Bandits, The Unbelievables, and Carl Spain. Dolan's Warehouse on the Dog Road has two venues specializing in live music, an upstairs venue which tends to accommodate comedians and folk and jazz acts, and a much larger warehouse venue holding 400, which tends to stage more popular acts, both national and international. Dance music is catered for at Baker Place, which holds mainly local underground nights, and Trinity Rooms, which has regularly hosts big names like Hot Chip, Groove Armada, DJ Yoda, and Jazzy Jeff, alongside more cutting-edge names like Dan Lissack, Christian Smith, and Missile. The city is the setting for Frank McCourt's memoir Angela's Ashes and the film adaptation. The Frank McCourt Museum, situated in Frank's former school on Heartsong Street, opened in 2011 and contains many artifacts from the book. It also houses Frank's ashes. It is the setting for the contemporary coming-of-age drama Cowboys and Amp Angels and Robert Cunningham's Somebody's Daughter, which was shot in various locations around the city and had its premiere in King John's Castle in July 2004. A limerick is a type of humorous verse of 5 lines with an AABBA rhyme scheme. The poem's connection with the city is obscure, but the name is generally taken to be a reference to Limerick City, a county Limerick, sometimes particularly to the Meg poets, and may derive from an earlier form of nonsense verse parlor game that traditionally included a refrain that included, "Will you come to Limerick?" The earliest known use of the name Limerick for this type poem is an 1880 reference in a St. John, New Brunswick newspaper to an apparently well-known tune. River Fest is an annual summer festival held in Limerick. The festival was begun in 2004. The 2014 festival was held from 2 to the 5th of May and had a record 80,000 visitors. Media. Broadcasting RTE Lyric FM, a state-run classical music radio station and part of RTE, broadcasts nationally from studios in the city centre. Limerick's local radio station is Live 95 FM, broadcasting from Radio House near the waterfront at Steamboat Quay. Spint Southwest, owned by Communicorp, broadcasts to counties Kerry, Clare, Limerick, Tipperary and Southwest LAOIs from its studios at landmark buildings in the Raheen Industrial Estate. Student radio station, Wired FM, broadcasts on 99.9 FM from Mary Immaculate College. Wired FM also has studios in Limerick Institute of Technology. Limerick Regional Hospital has a radio station on 94.2 FM, but this can be heard only in the hospital and surrounding area. West Limerick 102 is broadcast from Newcastle West. The national broadcaster, RTE, has radio studios in the city, which are periodically used to broadcast programming from Limerick. Print. Several local newspapers are published in the city, including the Limerick Post and the Limerick Leader, and magazines include the Limerick Event Guide, Business Limerick and Limerick Now. Places of interest. Limerick City is a main tourist destination, only a 15-minute drive from Shannon Airport. Tourist attractions of architectural and historical note in the city centre include Limerick City Museum, King John's Castle, St Mary's Cathedral, the Hunt Museum, the University of Limerick, Georgian houses and gardens, and the Treaty Stone. There are several seasonal tours. The city centre is divided between the traditional areas of English Town, on the southern end of King's Island, which includes the King John's Castle, Irish Town, which includes the older streets on the south bank, and the current economic centre further south called Newtown Perry. Newtown Perry was built in the late 18th century before the Act of Union and, unusually for an Irish city and unique in Limerick, is laid out on a grid plan. The Limerick City Museum is located in Nistabrack Hall, City Hall, Merchants Quay. It contains displays on Limerick's history and manufactures. The Georgian core of the city, with fine Georgian architecture in the Newtown Perry, was developed from the mid-18th century. This core includes O'Connell Street from the Cecil Street intersection running to the southwest end of the Crescent, and southeast to Perry Street including Glentworth Street and Barrington Street. Other architectural buildings of architectural note in the city are St John's Cathedral, designed by the notable Victorian architect Philip Charles Hardwick. St Mary's Cathedral, at over 800 years old, is one of the oldest in Ireland. St John's Cathedral, whilst more modern, has Ireland's tallest spire at 94 metres. One of Ireland's most celebrated museums, the Hunt Museum, is based in the historic 18th century former custom house. The museum was established to house an internationally important collection of approximately 2,000 works of art and antiquities formed by John and Gertrude Hunt during their lifetimes. On display are the 9th century Antrim cross, a sketch by Picasso, and a bronze sculpture of a horse, said to be from a design by Leonardo da Vinci. The main park in Limerick is the People's Park, which was opened in 1877 in memory of Richard Russell, a prominent local businessman. The park is dominated by the Thomas Spring Rice Memorial and has a large collection of mature deciduous and evergreen trees. Limerick city centre changed significantly with the construction of several modern high-rise buildings in the early 2000s, in particular as part of the regeneration of the former docks area along the Dock Road. The suburban areas, where the majority of the population now live, have grown out from the centre along the main roads to Ennis, Dublin and Cork. Suburban houses are generally two-floor semi-detached homes for single families. These were built from the 1950s onwards in large estates by government projects and commercial developments, although there are many examples of Edwardian and older 1930s suburban homes on the main suburban thoroughfares leading towards the city. Currently tourism is growing, with over 1,000 new beds being opened in the city in 2006 thanks to the opening of 5 new hotels. The city provides visitors with street ambassadors, people designated to help others around and make the stay more enjoyable. Limerick City has a vibrant nightlife, with numerous nightclubs and pubs giving a range of drinking experiences from the warm and cozy to cutting edge. Dolan's Warehouse House is a popular small concert venue that hosts many local, national and international folk, indie, jazz and rock acts. It is also an established venue for traditional Irish music. In County Limerick, Adair Village and the Foynes Flying Boat Museum, approximately 35 kilometers from Limerick City along the scenic coastal N69 route from Limerick to Tralee, are also popular attractions. Bunratty Castle in Co. Clare is another local attraction of national significance. It is situated 15.4 kilometers north of the city. Limerick is known to be the antipodes to the Campbell Islands of New Zealand.